And Birmingham's rush hour traffic has been brought to a standstill. PC's Jess Davis and Al Coleman are fighting their way through it to get to a serious accident on the busy Aston Expressway.
When we started approaching the scene, there was nowhere to go. We were struggling to make our way through traffic. It was just a sea of red lights.
This 2-mile stretch of motorway is unusual because there's no central barrier separating the opposing carriageways. There is, however, a no-go buffer lane.
The reason the buffer lane changes day to day is from what they call the tidal flow. So in the morning, you have more lanes opening into city, at rush hour traffic, and the opposite on the evening. That's why there's no central barrier down the middle.
But no central barrier means that a head-on collision between the fast-moving traffic is much more likely. And as they arrive, the motorway cops fear the worst.
It's a massive scene. It's looking serious at the moment. I don't know the ins and outs of injuries.
The multiple pile-up involves a BMW, a Mini, and a Jaguar.
When I saw both the Jaguar and the Mini, both those cars were extensively damaged. It was quite clear to me that there'd been a head-on collision, and I actually thought there would be a number of fatalities from both vehicles.
The fire crews are preparing to cut out 2 injured passengers who are trapped in the wreck of the Jaguar. 2 people were in the Mini, and they've already been freed, but the news isn't good.
They're both in the ambulance now. We've also been informed that one of the females within the Mini is, it's looking like it could turn into a fatality. It hasn't at the moment, but there's a potential. She's a very elderly female.
A passenger from the BMW is also injured, but fortunately it's not serious, and Al's giving what assistance he can.
Do you feel any pain anywhere at all?
My shoulder, my arm, and my head, just pounding.
Can you wiggle your fingers, can you?
I can this one's
Not so hard,
to move.
quite hard today. Feel that? No? Just have a little look, all right. Can you recall whether you knocked your arm or your arm was hit at all?
I don't remember.
No. All right, mate. So she's got numbness down the back of her neck. She can't wiggle the fingers very well on this arm here, but she's holding in her comfortable position. Can't feel her toes, which I think is probably cold. She's a little bit in shock.
While Al briefs the paramedic, Jess begins the investigation into what happened.
Are you a witness?
I'm the driver of the car.
Ah, has anyone taken your details or
Yeah,
spoken?
gentleman has, yeah.
Is that's your car there?
Yeah.
The roof of the man's Jaguar has now been cut away by the fire crews so they can try to free the injured backseat passengers.
That car's come across that carriageway into the front of us.
What, the Mini has?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Mini was the one driving the wrong way?
Yeah.
Right.
We were in the middle
Right.
lane, and then suddenly there's 2 headlights in front of you. There's just nowhere to go, is there?
No.
It seems that the Mini has veered right across the buffer lane into the opposite carriageway.
The Aston Expressway is a safe motorway, and that's more than likely due to the fact that the speed limit's 50 miles per hour, and they have that buffer lane in the middle.
Even at 50 miles an hour, a head-on crash is highly dangerous, despite having cars with modern crash protection.
Your seat belts and your restraint systems may hold you in the car, your body physically, but the problem that you have, everything else keeps moving within inside your body. And to survive an accident like that is quite rare.
The driver of the BMW has been lucky to escape injury. He's being breathalyzed as a precaution, but so far it doesn't appear he's to blame.
I think the back end swung round as he hit the car head on, and we went straight into him.
While the injured woman from his car is taken to hospital with a suspected broken collarbone, the fire crew are still battling to free the 2 passengers trapped inside the Jaguar.
I get really worried about people. We're human beings just like everybody else. You can see people who are in terrible pain. You see other casualties where you start to think, oh, I don't even know if they're going to survive this.
15 miles south, motorway cops John Martin and Jim Alcock are responding to another emergency.
Going to a report of a car crash, road traffic collision on the entry slip at junction 7 of the M5 North. Report at the moment is one of the drivers maybe out of the vehicle with a head wound, lying on the actual carriageway. There is always a good chance of serious injuries and fatalities for any collision that occurs on the motorway. When things do go wrong, then they can go seriously wrong.
A Highways Agency patrolman has already arrived, but there's no sign of any ambulance.
The blood wagon here, was it en route?
No, they're en route. Been ages.
Okay.
She's down there, it's Sophie, she's 21.
Yeah.
Had no known illnesses as we're aware of.
Yeah.
Gentleman, there's your witness. Struck the barrier on the offside.
Yeah.
Come to rest here, got out.
Yeah.
Fell over the barrier and just vomited blood.
Okay, mate.
The cops are trained to give basic medical aid, but her illness needs far more sophisticated treatment.
Hello, Sophie, it's the police. There's quite a bit of blood there, mate. Can you hear me all right?
Is that sick, is it, or is that blood?
Yeah, she's been sick blood. She's got out of the car, vomited blood.
You never like to see any sort of person in discomfort and distress. There's a part of you that always feels a bit helpless because you want to help that person to try and, you know, get them up and about and get them, make them better, but you're just unable to do so. So you just have to wait until the medical crews get there. Mike Alpha 1-3. Yeah, any time on when the ambulance is going to get here, over? Yeah, just quite concerned. The young girl has vomited. There's quite a bit of blood on the grass verge. I'm no doctor, but that don't look right. No, that's what I thought. It looks like sort of burst ulcer type stuff, doesn't it?
A driver following behind saw the crash and came to her aid.
She got out, she was very dizzy, come round the back, and she's actually mentioned, and she spoke to the Highways guy.
You can time on paramedic.
On 2 types of medication.
The ambulance
just changed recently. When she got out of the car, I could see it was, you know, something was I couldn't smell drink or anything like that. You know, I could just see that she was medically not.
Despite her sudden illness, she's managed to steer across the lanes of fast-moving traffic.
She'd actually come off the motorway onto the exit slip. She'd firstly collided with the right-hand barrier, and then she'd then been pinballed and bounced back towards the left-hand barrier.
But if she passed out on the main carriageway, the result could have been very different.
It was just potentially a recipe for disaster. Vehicles start to brake, and then people don't react in time, and bosh, you've got a multiple vehicle collision.
Her quick thinking probably avoided a major crash, but she's barely conscious and still in danger. Fortunately, the anxious wait for the paramedics is over.
It's a weight off your mind when the ambulance or the paramedic or any medical help turn up, that it's their profession, that they know what to look for, they know what to test for.
Sophie, hello Sophie.
No cuts, wounds, anything that I can see. She's as pale as a ghost.
She's got low blood pressure, that's why they put her back down.
Blood out of the stomach, presumably she's vomited.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound good, and bleeding stomach. No. Sure.
While the paramedics work to bring her round, the cops are trying to find any information that could help them to treat her.
She has had a road traffic collision, but we don't know whether it's down to something that she's taken.
A search of her belongings could give them a lead.
No, just looking inside the vehicle. Obviously, paramedics are very concerned with the amount of blood that's been brought up by the young girl. Just in case if there's any medicine in the car which could indicate what she might be suffering from. But there's nothing I can see at the moment.
There's nothing in the car, tablets or anything like that, no?
No, I've just been through there, nothing.
Doesn't smell of booze, does it, or anything?
No, nothing, no Narvis, no nothing.
No.
Bit of a horsey type by the looks of it.
Yeah. I'd noticed that she'd got horse riding boots on and also joggers. And at that point I thought, has a bang on the head occurred? There's no marks or anything on the helmet or anything, is there?
No.
No mud. We just offer any support we can, and if it means standing there like a tree holding something, then that's what we do. And if it means that a life is saved or helped in that way, then I'm sure we can put up with the pain of holding one of those up for a short while.
Her condition is now stable, but the reason for her sudden illness is still unknown.
I think we're going to try and get her back over the crash barrier, into the back of an ambulance, and down to Worcester Toot Sweet. No. Scoop, she's on. Yeah, on. Back for us. Sophie, how you feeling?
She'll be rushed to Worcester Hospital, only 3 miles away, where the doctors will carry out a full diagnosis and treatment.
Thanks a lot, mate.
130 miles north, PC's Mick Roff and Jim Duffy of the Yorkshire and Humber Regional Road Crime Team are out on patrol. In Yorkshire, the night shift has a different set of challenges.
I prefer working at night because there's fewer people around on the roads, but there's a lot of criminals around because they do their business at that time of night, so they're much easier to spot.
The people in the green car they're passing now are going to be given a once-over.
It's 3 lads in quite an old, beaten-up car. So it's always worth having a stop, having a chat. I'm not saying they're doing anything wrong. Have a stop, have a chat, and just see who they are and what they're about.
999 activated.
You alright, mate? How you doing? You alright, lads? Just pull keys out for us. Hand them here. Nice one. Is it your car, mate?
No, it's not mine, no.
Whose is it?
It's my friend's here.
Your friend's there?
Yeah.
Right, so it's his car, and you're insured to drive this?
He's had a bit of to drink in it, so I'm just dropping him off to his house.
So you're not insured?
It looks like an open and shut case, but it's the backseat passenger who's making this stop more than just routine.
What's up with you, mate, here?
I don't know, I think he's had a bit to drink, that's what.
Have you got all you should have?
Yeah? No, I haven't got
Put these on,
anything.
mate. Put these on loose at front.
Yeah?
He's acting funny, mate, isn't he?
He's acting well off, isn't he?
Get off.
Yeah, so you just sit tight there and keep your hands where we can see.
What's up with this lad? What's he had it back here?
My house, yeah?
He's not going to get in trouble. Just tell us what he's taken, because he's obviously taken some.
They've both been drinking, I'm just about to just drop him off.
Sir, calm him down, will you?
Just tell him to relax.
Just tell him to
There's
calm down.
not to worry about.
Stop acting so paranoid.
You're acting like that, that's why you got the handcuff on.
Has he took something?
He's been drinking
Drinking what?
alcohol.
Lighter fluid. I was worried because of the way he was behaving. The signs and symptoms were he was behaving completely irrationally, completely, incoherent almost. But the 2 guys in the front thought it was amusing.
Jim and Mick, however, aren't laughing.
Lads, you've been detained for purposes of a drug search at this time, all right? He's took something, hasn't he?
Yeah, I've just...
He has took something, lads, I tell you now.
I've seen it, he's been drinking...
Yeah, it's not just drink, is it?
Nah.
Yeah, he must have took something, I'm not sure.
You need some fresh
Are you
air.
alright?
Just get...
Pal, what's up with you? Have you got asthma?
X-ray Tango 17.
What's that you're spitting out? Is that blood? What have you taken, my friend?
A search of his pockets could provide an answer. Mick's already found some cannabis on the front seat passenger, so now everyone's under suspicion.
Just put your hands out for us, pal. Just gonna handcuff you, all right, because you're detained for the purpose of a search, as my colleague's already explained. And seeing as your pal here's got a bit of green on him, and obviously lad in backs looks like he's eating a field of magic mushrooms, we'll just handcuff you, all right?
I've got a bag of weed on me as well myself.
You've got a bag of weed, have you? No bother, just keep your hands where we can see him and we'll get that sorted. Are you known for drugs?
I'm not, yeah, before I was, yeah.
When were you last dealt with for drugs?
I've been in prison for juveniles for about 5 years ago now.
5 years ago?
Yeah.
And what was that for?
Possession of Class 8 and the supply.
Supply. But for 5 years you've got nothing to do with
No,
drugs?
I've nothing to do with drugs in 5 years.
Until now.
It's a small amount of cannabis, enough for a street caution for possession.
Any more?
No more.
The cops frequently encounter those who've had one too many, but this is a trickier problem.
It's not asthma, because he's been trying to make himself sick by coughing. We have to make a decision, really. Why is he acting like this? If you called an ambulance for everyone that was drunk, they'd soon run out of ambulances.
Look, he's making himself sick, that's what he's doing.
Go to his house.
No. I don't want to go to his house.
Kick him in the face.
Don't kick him in the face, that ain't going to help him, is it? Just stand still. Do you understand English? No.
My house. My house.
No. You wait here, mate, all right? Just wait here, okay?
Ding, yeah, ding. Ding, yeah. Like it ding. No, no ding. No like ding.
While the cops decide whether the man requires medical attention or is simply off his face, on the Aston Expressway in Birmingham, the 2 injured passengers have finally been removed from the wreck of the Jaguar.
In my experience, I've been on the motorway for 10 years or so. It's one of the worst scenes I've seen on the expressway. And I have to say that people say, well, it's always going to happen on the expressway because there's no centre reservation. This is a very, very rare accident on the expressway where somebody actually has a head-on.
Inspector Mark Fullwood is in charge of the crash scene and has been waiting for news of the critically injured woman who was rushed to hospital over an hour ago.
Yeah, I've just received an update from my officers at the hospital. Unfortunately, the female passenger from the Mini, she was rushed into theatre, but unfortunately she has passed away. So now we are treating this as a fatal collision investigation, and we'll do our utmost to find out the cause of the collision.
The scene will now be preserved until a collision investigation team has gathered enough evidence to enable them to work out the sequence of events. Witness accounts and photographs will be used to build a picture of just what happened. The investigation will be helped by the roadside cameras which have caught the whole incident on tape. As the Mini crosses the buffer lane, one lucky car driver has time to avoid it, but the Jaguar driver has no chance to react as the Mini heads directly towards him. The Jaguar was being driven by Paul Hills.
It was quite busy, but traffic was moving well into town, and suddenly this car appeared. The last thing I saw was 2 headlights, and that was it. We couldn't go left. I didn't have time to brake, do anything. We just took the impact, bang, and that was it.
The evidence from the CCTV is crucial because it reveals that at no point do the Mini's brake lights come on.
So it appeared that she hadn't even attempted to brake, because the first thing you do in any sort of, your first natural instinct is to slam on the brakes. So we just couldn't begin to imagine why the driver hadn't done that.
One possibility is mechanical failure, but only by examining the wreckage can the cops hope to find out. And as the investigation continues into the night, more news comes in.
It appears from my latest update that the lady who's died is the mother of the driver.
I just felt really, really terrible for that female, because she's lost her mum, and she's lost her mum in a situation where she was in control of that vehicle, behind the wheel of that vehicle.
Back in Leeds, Mick Roff and Jim Duffy are still trying to deal with the man who's acting strangely. They don't think there's a medical emergency, but they can't take any chances.
Listen to me. Calm down. Calm down. Jim, just get an ambulance. This guy was getting worse and worse as it went on, so we had to call an ambulance at that point, really.
That male I just passed you, he's having some sort of episode. Appears to be struggling for breath slightly. Come take a seat here for us. Nice one, pal. Right, we'll deal with the rest while we're sorted.
With the situation seemingly under control, Jim's free to deal with the driver's motoring offence.
In regards to your insurance, how many points are you on at the moment?
I've got 8 points in 2008. I'm not sure if it's gone or...
But now his mate in the back has made a remarkable recovery.
Jim!
Yeah?
I don't need to run, I've got a car to drive. Whereas Jim is much leaner and faster than me. So you play to your attributes and your skills.
1-7, I've got an officer chasing on foot down here, so you have to remail to the units in the area.
Mick is definitely the man that you want driving the car, not the man you want sprinting after the person that's run off from you. He's not built for running. He's gonna kill me. It's one of them things you never ever want to happen. But in this case, in fairness to us, there was never any indication that he wanted to run.
As he's not under arrest, it's not illegal to run from the police, but the man's actions aren't helping the cops.
Is this lad he's having some kind of mental episode? Is an ambulance still coming to us? What were all that about?
Just careful with her. He fell on.
Look, what is all this carrying on?
Drinking. What are you doing?
Yeah, get us a van. We'll have to bring him in 136, this lad.
Oi, listen. Relax.
He's clearly under the influence of something, but what?
Has he taken something that we need to know about? Because he's behaving... It ain't just cannabis, this is it?
Nah, that's all he has.
That's it, just cannabis, that's it?
Yeah, that's it.
No else? What's
It's a lightweight, innit? I don't... But he's never had a drink.
How much has he had to drink?
He's had two bottles of Jack Daniels.
2 bottles of Jack Daniels?
Shut the up, man.
Why you've got gloves on, just go through his pockets again.
Mick's found something which could explain his bizarre behaviour.
What's this, mate?
What?
Oh, it's a normal traditional Bengali stuff.
Is it? Is it?
Magic mushrooms.
Magic mushrooms.
I said earlier he'd eaten a few magic mushrooms.
That explains a lot, doesn't it? Judging by his behaviour, some kind of magic mushrooms, dried mushrooms or something. When I asked you, has he took some of these? What is it?
That's, I don't know how to explain that. How do you explain that in Goa? What is it? Betel nuts. We have that thing, we have that thing, like in our tradition thing, innit?
Betel nuts, they said it was, but...
Yeah, so it looks like he's got like remnants of magic mushrooms and then he's just...
That's got to be some...
just taken off.
Kind of herbal hallucinogenic, like that. The way he's behaving.
Looks like dried mushrooms, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. Anyone know? Let's go in. Legality-wise.
The cops will establish later whether to charge him or not. For now, the priority is to get him to hospital, leaving Mick free to finally deal with the insurance issue.
1-7, this Mazda that these 3 lads have been in, which have caused us this grief tonight, we're seizing it under no insurance. Could you put a log on for us?
It's insured though, how can you say no insurance, man?
Not when he's driving, it's not.
Yeah, but it's still insured, the car's insured.
It matters not, it matters
car's
not.
on the road, legal, you can't
No,
take it.
I'm not giving you up keys when you're drunk. I can take it, and I am taking it.
The man's appeals are pointless. He has no insurance, so the car's being seized, along with the cannabis they've found. With more traffic on the roads, daytime brings a fresh set of problems for the cops. But as PC's Andy Tucker and Matt Fleming head for the motorway, they overhear a radio call for immediate assistance.
59 is all in order. Yeah, I just got someone under arrest. Come on, join me.
When the safety of a colleague is at stake, the cops put everything else to one side.
Suddenly to hear panting on the radio and obviously a foot chase gets the blood going a little bit, and obviously first instinct is to get to that location that was passed to us as quick as we can and to help out.
X-ray Tango 18, so we're half a mile from him. Just had an officer shout up on the local channels, he's got somebody under arrest. We're not sure what the offence is, but just asked for some assistance. He's possibly single crewed, so we're going to make our way and help him out.
You don't know why he's chasing that individual, whether they've got weapons, what the previous is, who that individual is that's being chased.
When they get there, the runaway's been caught and cuffed.
Hello mate, you alright?
Hey up. Just had a bit of a foot chase with him, that's all.
Right. Just have a sit in the car, mate, we'll get sorted out.
I was going to see my daughter for half an hour today, then ask myself in.
That's my plan all along, see my kids and have myself in.
All right, mate.
Sometimes prisoners are let out on compassionate grounds, but if they don't return, a warrant is issued for their arrest.
He was wanted for recall to prison. Didn't know details at that time, but obviously the priority is getting him in the car and getting him back to custody.
But the prisoner has another priority.
Will you not take me to see my daughter for 2 minutes, please? I was supposed to be meeting her there right now.
All we're doing is taxi. We've been told to take to custody, mate, so I can't do anything other than that, pal, I'm afraid.
I was going to have myself in this afternoon after I'd seen my daughter. I seen my son yesterday. I was going to see my daughter today and have myself in.
I really can't, mate.
Can you go into the left lane then so I can at least try and see her?
We'll pull in the lane, mate, but we can't pull up.
Yeah, just pull in that lane. You don't have to pull up, mate.
Right.
She should be just anywhere here now. She were at that L&D property. She was going to walk round to the doctors to meet me. Look, she's there, just coming out now. Can you beep on? At all, please. She's there walking with pram.
Despite what people may think, we are human somewhere underneath. Unfortunately, the rare occasion the human side slipped out and started to listen to what he was actually saying.
Can I shout her out window at all? Just shout. Will you just shout, please?
I'll give him 2 minutes. If you're not getting out of the car, mate, I'll give you 2 minutes, all right?
Thank you, mate. That's all I ask.
When you're at work, the uniform goes on, you're in the marked car, you become not robotic, but there's a prescribed way things are expected to happen. This particular occasion, it would have been hard for me to say no.
Yeah, she's there. Shout her.
He's got 2 minutes. I don't know if is it your partner, so we've got in the back. We locked him up, he just wants a minute with his daughter, is it? Just put the window down, mate.
They were there in that red car waiting for me right outside L&D. Get her out, let me give her a kiss. Take your dummy out.
Why have they put them on?
So I tried running off, didn't I? Because I wanted to see it.
He knew full well that he was being recalled to prison. At that point, I didn't know how long that was going to be for, but potentially a substantial amount of time. So it was quite an emotional couple of minutes.
Give me another kiss, baby.
Give Daddy a kiss.
I love you, darling.
Say love you.
Say love you.
Say love you.
Love you, baby.
Alright, that's to go.
Oh, let everyone know. Let everyone know I'll be all right, yeah?
All right.
Thank you.
That's not a problem, mate.
It's the family, the people left behind, that tend to suffer the most. A lot of the times people go off and serve prison sentences, and I think it's family left behind that sometimes feel the pain more. It is difficult, and it was difficult to watch. Obviously, I could see both that mum and dad were emotional. Obviously, small child there. We do have a human side, and we can show a little bit of compassion.
1 minute's better than none. At least I've seen them both.
Yeah, it's mate, innit?
Get it over and done with now.
Yep.
With the goodbyes over, the mood in the car lightens up.
Tell you what, that guy who chased me had some why, because I jumped down this big massive wall, I just seen him following me. Fuck.
4 weeks, mate, they're desperate.
Must have been a young'un.
I take it they've just driven past you and seen you then, have they?
Well, I walked in to meet her at that L&D properties, and they were parked up just before L&D properties. As I've walked up, I've seen both doors open, so I thought, I just belted it. But, what can I say? I'm unfit. I was running, and I says, all I want is to see my kids. He says, I'll take you to see them. So I just stopped. That's all I wanted anyway.
What's the offence you're in for, mate, if you don't mind me asking?
It was drugs.
Was it?
Yeah.
Cannabis?
No, it were crack cocaine and heroin.
How long's your sentence?
It was 3 years.
Right. How much you done?
I did 14 months. Right. I split up with her. Right. I was just so that's why I ended up not going back.
In the end, the decision to let him see his daughter seems to be the right one.
It's always difficult going against the grain with something, but we have professional discretion a lot of the time, but going away from the norm is sometimes difficult. It's a judgment call to make at the end of the day, the fact that his family are there. It's a decision I made, and I stick by that decision. Giving him that few minutes, in my opinion, didn't do any harm, but it's always difficult.
35 miles away in Leeds, PC Mick Roth has teamed up with PC Gary Panther. there's something not quite right about the red Volkswagen Golf that's coming into view.
We'll have a look at this one.
It's a bit of a gut feeling kind of instinct. There's something not right about that. I'm not sure what it is, but you kind of feel it in your bones, you know.
Mick's checking the police national computer to find out who owns the car.
Truck one comes back to...
The car belongs to a company, so Mick will be checking if the person driving it is entitled to be at the wheel, and if he's insured.
Hey, pal. Here's your keys, pal.
Problem?
No, just a routine stop, mate. Your motor?
Yeah.
It's a nice looking...
It's actually motor, but I'm insured for the day.
Are you insured for just one day, are you? Yeah. Is it hire motor then, or...?
No, it's...
And what do you do?
I'm a debt collector.
Are you? Right enough. Have you got some ID on you then, pal? Are you collecting now, what?
I am, yeah, from that card.
No, have you got some ID? If you're going to be knocking on people's doors, you'll have some formal debt collecting ID, won't you? Just knock that tab off for us, mate, if you don't mind.
Get rid of the cigarette?
If you don't mind,
no,
yeah.
Not at all,
do you
mate.
mind?
No, not at all, mate. No, you're not going to do me for chucking it on the floor, mate.
No, don't throw it out. Just keep it in there. You can smoke it after, can't you? But you got your rental agreement for this car then, mate?
Don't. It's
Copy to go with car?
No, well, it's actually my friend's.
What, whose car is it? Yours or your friend's?
It's my friend's car, but I'm insured for the day. Correct.
So who's hired the car?
It's actually a lease vehicle through. Right. The hiree is Mr. I'm renting it for the day. I'm basically hiring it for the day. I've paid him a deposit.
Gaz, he's saying that he don't lease this car. Someone else leases this car, and he's hiring it just for a day. He's paid this kid some money to hire his car off him.
Well, I haven't paid him. I've just paid him like a deposit in case anything happens to the car, sort of thing.
When you first start, you are gullible to a certain extent, and you know, many a time my tutor constable clipped me round the ear and basically said, "Don't be so stupid," because you take people at face value. The worst thing about this job is you look for the bad in everybody.
So you've rented it off for today?
Pretty much, yeah.
No markers for him, Mick. Got full driving licence.
Interestingly, the driver's friend is actually listed in his book of debtors.
Have a quick look at that.
Yeah, of course you can.
What are these documents in here then?
That is Provident Finance Credit. He's also one of my friends got a loan off me as well.
It seems strange, doesn't it? Are these all your customers in here?
That's correct.
That this guy owes you money and you're driving his car around, don't you think?
We were sort of thinking, well, he's a debt collector. He's driving around in somebody's car who owes him money. Has he threatened or has he put any pressure on this gentleman to allow him to drive his vehicle in payment for the debt that he owes?
How much does he owe you?
He owes £940 minus £35.
And you've given him 200 quid to borrow his car?
Well, I've given him a deposit of £200. There's a difference between a deposit and giving him cash of £200. Yeah, that's correct.
All right, pal. This lad who owns it here. It's in here, look. I'll just give you this.
Because the debt collector's story isn't stacking up, Gary's going to contact the leasing company to get their side of it.
17 at back office.
I know it seems dodgy, right?
It does. It does. From my point of view, it seems very suspect, doesn't it?
Of the law.
There's a conflict of interest, surely, there.
No, absolutely no. There is no conflict of interest at all.
You have said, though, you've rented the car off him.
We've got one of your vehicles stopped at the moment, and we just basically we believe that the gentleman who's driving it has not actually hired the vehicle from yourselves, and we just want to confirm that if he's entitled to drive this vehicle at all.
How long have you been doing this job then?
About 4 years.
Is it decent money or?
Can be.
Right.
Depends if people pay.
Do you get paid on a commission basis then? Right. So whatever you recover, you'll get a percentage of, do you?
I get a sort of basic as well. It depends. I get 15% of what I collect.
Are you all right with this chap a minute, Cole?
Yeah.
He keeps his phone's ringing a lot, so I've told him not to answer his phone. He's not been searched for anything yet. I'll just speak to Gaz a sec.
All right.
Gary has just found out who is allowed to drive the car.
So they rent the car off. Then they've rented it out specifically to and only.
Yeah.
And then he's driving it. They don't consent for him to drive that car under their agreement.
If you lease a vehicle and there's a person who's not on the lease agreement, you can't allow them to drive around in it because it's leased to you only.
You're under arrest on suspicion of taking this vehicle without consent, all right? Just jump out and I'll give you a quick search. Is there out in your pockets at all?
No, there ain't no in my
For some reason, he's chosen to leave a watch in the car.
Whose that watch that you took off?
It's mine.
Take it with you?
No, we'll just leave it in the car.
The car's not going to be back to you, mate, so you need everything out of there.
Yeah, there's nothing else in there that's mine.
Now, why would you take your own watch off and put it in the car that he's been told he's going to go back to? Because it's his watch. He's never going to see it again. And it was about 150 quid's worth of watch.
The watch is mine.
So what are you leaving it in there for then?
Take it then, it's fine. Have it, love it.
Whose is that watch?
All right, it's my watch, right? But
Right.
it doesn't mean it. It's not about any value, mate.
Listen, what are you getting upset for?
Because you like trying to twist everything
I'm not.
saying,
I just
mate,
told you get everything out of the car because it's not coming back to you.
All right,
and
so
you've took
take
the
it.
watch off and put it in the car.
Because the watch is invaluable. It's no value to it. I don't mind if I don't have it back.
So why would you take it off? It just doesn't make sense, does it? Do you understand where I'm coming from? I ain't being funny with you, but why would you take a watch off? That watch there cost me £5. I won't take it off and throw it on the floor. What I'll do is I'll seize this from you, all right, and we'll make some inquiries about it.
God, all right,
All right?
okay,
If
yeah,
it turns out it's
fine.
someone else's, then we'll have to speak to you about that as well,
Right,
won't we?
well, it's my friend's watch, and it's mine as well.
So
It
it's
don't
not
matter.
it's not your watch, is
Doesn't
it?
matter though, does
It does
I
matter.
use it.
It does matter.
I was wearing it for today. Is there a problem with that?
We'll have to speak to see if there's a problem with that, won't we?
Okay, fine.
If you're taking people's possessions
Right,
in
okay.
payment for what he owes you.
People's possessions for payment. He's my good friend.
And he's also got his good friend's passport.
I'll have that as well. It was our assumption, a reasonable assumption at the time, that he'd put some pressure on the guy who owed him money and said, I'll have your watch, I'll have your car, and I'll do what I want with it until you give me my money back.
And there's another fine that's not making sense.
Do you want the rest of your licence? How long you had this car for? How long's not long at all?
A day. Today.
Your nose is getting longer every time you speak.
I've had the car today. Is that my licence?
It is your licence.
Well, I don't know why that's in there. I don't have a clue why that's in there.
It's your licence, and wrapped up in it is a train ticket from 21st of September.
Right, well, I don't know why. Maybe I've left some stuff in the boot.
Maybe you have, yeah.
There's something not right here. Yeah. He's got this kid's passport, he's got a watch that he's just put back in the car that he says is his. We need to go have a word with this kid and just make sure that nothing's happened untoward with this kid.
If Gary and Mick can track this kid down, then maybe they'll find out the truth. In Birmingham, the cars involved in the multiple pile-up on the motorway are being examined by Al Coleman and Jess Davis.
Just had a little walk around the Mini, and just looking inside, you can see there's like a shopping bag with a couple of bottles of sparkly wine. It just hits home to you, really. Looking at the state of the car, sort of, it looks to me like, they've stopped off at the shops, they bought a couple of bottles of bubbly, perhaps having a girly night in, like, me and my mum do that every other week. It's quite sort of haunting to then look at that vehicle, especially when it's really mangled up and you know what the people in that vehicle went through and what the end result was.
One person died, but 7 people survived. The big question is, what caused the Mini to be in the wrong lane and crash head-on into the Jaguar?
On CCTV, when the vehicle goes across into the opposing carriageway, we can see that the brake lights aren't illuminated. So our suspicion is that possibly the brakes weren't applied. The brakes work. Just push real hard. So that's telling us that the brakes are actually working. If we can get power into the vehicle, we can check whether the brake lights actually apply. I think while we got you here, we'll do that. Car's powered up, so if Jess presses the brake pedal, we'll see what happens. So the brake lights are working, so she never braked. Well, I think it's something medical now, I do. I think she's felt unwell. And my personal opinion, I think she may have been unconscious when this vehicle was going across the carriageway, because she hasn't made any attempt to either correct the steering or to apply the brakes.
As well as one fatality, 4 of the survivors were injured. But it could have been much worse.
Seatbelts was the main reason why we had only one fatality in this accident.
In the Jaguar that night were Paul Hill, his wife, and 2 of their friends.
I'd only had the car for 3 weeks, and it was the first occasion that I'd had rear passengers in the car. And the reason they put the seatbelts on was the annoying buzzer, that prompts people to wear seatbelts that are usually fitted in the front, but on the Jag it was fitted in the rear as well.
Wearing those rear seatbelts undoubtedly saved their lives, and most likely the lives of those in the front too. Paul's wife Siobhan was in the back seat. Although she suffered severe bruising, these were the only injuries she received.
It makes you look at your own mortality, and you wake up thinking, yeah, it is good to be alive today. And I thank God for that every day, but since the accident, yes, more so than ever.
Time and time again, you'll stop someone for not wearing a seatbelt, you'll give them a ticket, they think it's beneath them, they think that, why should they have to pay a fine, they think it's petty, they just don't get the point that we're trying to make.
People get annoyed with us, if you've got nothing better to do, can you not just give me a warning? Well, this is the reason why I can't give you a warning, I'm afraid. This is the reason why I give you a £60 warning, because it's your life. It's your life that you're playing with. And if you're the rear seat passenger in a vehicle and you're not wearing your seatbelt, you're also playing with the life of the people in front that are driving the car and the passenger. You're playing with their lives as well.
Not wearing seatbelts and using mobile phones while driving are 2 of the most common motoring offences in the UK.
Hiya. The reason I've stopped you is you're not wearing your seatbelt.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. It was just because I'm literally just coming up the road and that's my house, so...
Great that you've got your child in the seatbelt, but where's yours?
No seatbelt?
I just literally took it off just to lean over to try and get her dummy.
I can see you've got it on now.
Why haven't you got your seatbelt on?
I've just took it off.
No, you wasn't. You didn't have it on at the traffic lights.
You didn't have it on, which is quite clear.
For a second, it's all it takes to put a seatbelt on. You did an awful long time. It's really important that people wear seatbelts. Now it's a different story altogether now. I'll not let anybody sit behind me in a car without wearing a seatbelt. I won't get in a taxi without putting a seatbelt on. It's had made a massive difference to us.
Keeping people safe on the roads is a major part of the motorway cop's job, but there's still a hardcore of drivers who ignore the law.
There's it'll never happen to me culture, but people always think, if I just go down the shop with no seatbelt on, no one's going to catch me. If I just take this quick phone call, no one's going to catch me. And it's more than likely that's the time that it's all going to go wrong.
Every year, 200,000 tickets for not wearing a seatbelt are issued, and 150,000 drivers are prosecuted for using their phones while at the wheel.
It's just plain stupidity when people use a mobile phone, because the message has been out there for long enough for everybody to be aware that it's against the law.
Motorway cops Nigel Kearney and Martin Smith are on the M42 south of Birmingham. They're in an unmarked car, making it easy for them to creep up on drivers who think they won't be caught using their phones.
He's on the phone, mate, in the lorry.
He was holding his phone out to the front of him like that. He's not getting a course, mate. He's getting a ticket because of that.
Yeah, he's catching up now, mate.
He's a lorry driver, he's a professional driver. He's got a 44-ton truck.
It is a lethal weapon, and they don't stop for things. If they're travelling at 55 miles an hour, fully laden, they hit a car, they go over it.
Where did you sync your phone when you're holding it when you're driving?
Like many drivers who are caught in the act, this man has a ready answer.
If you look at it, I can honestly say I was doing that when I was looking at your thing.
That's fine, but
I swear I wasn't using it.
But you're not in proper control because it's in your hand.
I know.
So if something was to happen in front of you, you wouldn't have the same.
I was sitting like that on your video. I swear I was not using my phone.
No, but you had it in your hand.
Yeah.
So we're not going to prosecute you for being on your phone. We're going to prosecute you for not being in proper control of your vehicle because it's there.
Okay.
You're driving a 44-ton truck.
Yeah.
What happens when that 44-ton truck at 55 miles an hour, ploughs into the back of a small family car?
Yeah, I totally appreciate what you're saying, and I've got a hands-free kit. I wouldn't use the phone. I was looking at a picture of when I open the thing, the picture of my daughter comes on, and I look at my picture 50 times a day. Personal reasons.
I appreciate that, but maybe you shouldn't do it when you're driving. So the way I would like to do with you today is by the means of fixed penalty notice.
Certainly.
Have you got any points on your licence at the moment?
9.
How many?
9.
Right.
That changes things somewhat.
9 points is pretty much a critical turning point in anybody's driving licence, really. It's basically one more hit and you're out. We can't issue a fixed penalty for somebody who's already on 9 points because that's the potential for that person to become disqualified.
For this trucker, a disqualification is likely to mean the loss of his livelihood.
I've just started work again. I've been through a divorce, hence why I look at the picture.
Hold on. What's your 9 for?
I had a car in 2008 and didn't give the police people who somebody drove it, and I didn't give them the
permission.
6 points for that, then.
And I've got 3 for speeding.
The thing is, you're going to get disqualified. Just crawled out of this dark place that he was in, and just getting himself sorted. That was my biggest dilemma, because I didn't want it, and it seems quite trivial, I suppose, but I really didn't want him to lose everything he'd just worked really hard for, and I just, it's quite heartfelt, to be fair. We are human, aren't we? The same as everybody else. You've been disqualified as well before?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I've had a lot of problems, as you can probably gather.
Yeah.
I know where you're coming from. I can empathise fully because I have similar type of issues, but I still can't do certain things whilst I'm at work.
It's a sorry time when marriages break up, but it's a sorry time when relationships between parents and children to those marriages also break down. Sometimes there can be an awful lot of bitterness surrounding the breakup, and it does get in the way of relationships with children.
To start being on my phone and looking at pictures of my kids, which I don't get to see very often, like yourself, I'd end up in the same degree of trouble because I'd be committing the same offences. It's the same problem. I'm a professional driver, my colleague is, and we have responsibilities. We've got no choice but to act because of what you were doing. And it puts us in a very, very difficult position.
We have many options. We can send people to court, we can endorse their licence, we can send them on a driver improvement scheme, or we can give them a warning. We've got discretion, and sometimes I'd rather use discretion.
While the cops decide what path they're going to take. Back in Leeds, the debt collector who Mick and Gary have arrested is being booked into Bridewell police station.
How much should be here?
He needs to answer the charges of driving a leased car without the leasing company's consent.
Do you have a solicitor that you use, or would you like us to contact the duty scheme, which is completely independent from the police? Entirely up to you. If you want to use them. Do you know what company he's from?
He's from...
Very, very upsetting there, very emotional. More than you would expect of someone who's not done anything wrong. From start to finish, he's not told us a straight story from start to finish. He constantly changes it. He's asked myself and Gary quite upset if he'll go to prison for what he's done.
To get to the truth about the hire car, Mick and Gary need to talk to the car's actual leaseholder. So they're going to his home address.
Got blinds are down, up windows. Surprisingly.
They've just discovered that the debt collector's solicitor has already had a word about his arrest with the man they want to question, and Mick and Gary are more than a little unhappy.
He shouldn't be making his own inquiries and trying to undermine our investigation. I'm fuming about that.
The man has agreed to meet them in a petrol station forecourt.
You're going to have to move your seat forward, mate. You're pretty much aware of why you're here, aren't you?
He's rang me. So that's what I'm aware of.
He's rung you, has
He's
it?
rang me, yeah.
Is he your solicitor?
He's a family friend of my family, so...
He was careful in what he said, as not to drop anybody else in it. Do you owe any money to the gentleman who you lent the car to? Yeah?
No.
No?
Not a penny. Do I owe him any money? I don't owe him any money, no.
Right, so he's not collecting any debts from yourself?
No, he's not collecting any debts or anything like that. Not at all. That's nothing to do with anything.
Right.
You ever lived at Avenue in Leeds?
Yeah.
So he is collecting money from you?
No, he's not collecting any money from me.
So you've never owed him 1,500 quid?
You're talking about
Yeah.
Never owed £1,500, no. Oh, do you mean... Oh, sorry, do you mean... Wise, you mean for the company? In the past, I've taken out a loan with him, but not for £1,500, no.
I think he was tying himself up in knots, trying to come up with these stories and explanations.
Sorry,
Right.
I didn't realise what you were talking about.
When I said, is he collecting any debts
Sorry,
from you?
no, he's not collecting any debts from me. I didn't realise what you're talking about. No, with his company, I have in the past taken out a loan, but it's a completely separate issue.
When I were asking the questions, I was obviously thinking, this is not true.
Shall we start again?
Yeah.
Shall we start again, assuming that we know more than you think we know?
Yeah, no,
And shall we start again? And do you want to tell us the truth?
Yeah, I'm not. Obviously, I've got no reason.
Don't start by saying I'm not lying, because that never works.
No, I understand that. I've got no reason whatsoever to lie to you at all about anything.
I don't agree with you. Has he given you any money today?
He's not giving me any money today.
Has he given you any money towards the vehicle or anything like that?
No, he's giving me nothing.
Cover any damage?
He's giving me nothing. Not giving me any money today. He's not giving me a penny. Haven't taken any money off him or anything like that at all.
There's still some questions to be answered because the stories that you're both providing, I'm pretty certain that one of you is lying.
Well, I don't.
But we'll get the statement sorted. We'll put it down on paper, and he's going to have to answer some questions. All right.
They do always try and give you an account that is, semi-plausible, but we have the time and the resources and the tenacity to see things through to the nth degree, if you like.
The man will be formally interviewed on tape and then released while the cops continue their investigation. Back on the M42, Nigel Kearney and Martin Smith have made up their minds what to do with the trucker they caught using his mobile phone.
I appreciate you got your job to do, and I suppose I've learnt by mine now, haven't I? I've only just gone back to work Thursday as well, so I had 12 months off for all the hassle I've gone through.
At the moment, you will be reported for driving the vehicle whilst not in proper control. I can't deal with you by the means of a fixed penalty notice because of your points, okay?
The cops have the freedom to use discretion in dealing with every driver.
I think discretion is important because we have to remember that we do have the ability to make choices. We're not forced down a particular route in terms of we should go to court or we should give a ticket or we should caution or we should let an individual off. We have to take consideration of all of the facts of an incident, and it's not about letting people off. It's not about not taking any action. It's about making appropriate decisions and decisions that are appropriate for that individual and the circumstances that we've dealt with. And sometimes a decision that's right for one person wouldn't necessarily be right for the next.
I hope it pans out. I probably won't see it because you'll get into your cab now. My colleague will speak to you. But I hope it pans out for you with the kids and that because I know where you are. Believe me, I'm in the same boat.
Yeah. Thanks very much.
Okay, mate.
The written caution he'll receive means he may avoid losing his licence, but he's going to get a lecture from Nigel.
This is your final chance. And the reason being is because what you're driving kills people. You're not looking what you're doing, you will kill somebody, right? Because these things aren't forgiving. You don't do it. You promise you will never, ever do it again, right? You get hands-free, you never use that phone ever again when you're driving. You get caught again, you get caught on the motorway by us or another crew, and I'll make sure you go to court. And I will put in there that we've given you this chance and you've just, you've totally had it in disregard, and I'll ask them to give you the maximum sentence. You've been through hell by the sounds of it. You don't want to put you through it yourself through it again, do you? All right? See you later. There'll be a letter in the post.
Because you can see what the guy is trying to do, and he's trying to get on his feet, and it's been a long road for him, and he's lost everything. And I know exactly where he's coming from, mate, because I've been there, and you have. We've still got to do the right thing in terms of our responsibilities to the motorists as well. I can really empathise with him, but we can't let our hearts rule our heads in that way.
We haven't prosecuted him to the full letter of the law. You know, he hasn't gone to court, he hasn't lost his licence. But, you know, I think you have to put yourself in that situation sometimes. And what would you have done?
No further action was taken by the Crown Prosecution Service against the driver of the Mini in which her mother died.
I think she's got enough punishment that's arisen from, I suppose, from her own actions. I think the right decision's been made.
The young woman who crashed her car on the hard shoulder made a full recovery. Doctors believe she became ill whilst driving due to a new course of medicine she'd started a few days earlier. Why the man who ran away from the cops was behaving strangely was never established. The substances found on him were not illegal and no action was taken against him. But the driver of the car he was in had neither a licence nor insurance. He was fined £500, paid £85 costs and received 8 points on his licence. The debt collector wasn't prosecuted for taking the leasing company's car without consent, and no further action was taken against him for borrowing his mate's watch and passport either. However, he was charged with driving without insurance. He pleaded guilty, paid £85 in court costs and was given a 6-month conditional discharge. No action was taken against his mate, the leaseholder of the car he was driving. And the man who was looking at photos of his daughter on his mobile phone while driving a 44-ton truck received an official letter of caution.